At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. Thank all of you for coming and sharing with us tonight. This is a meeting of the Northampton County Board of Commissioners. We take care of the affairs for Northampton County. We are asking you, if you would, to please cut off your phones if you would. And if you would, put them on bravating or either on silent. We would appreciate it. Tonight, as we come to take care of this business, and we do it with an agenda. We do it in order. We ask that you, as part of the crowd, please respect the person next to you and even the person that's speaking. We shall give each of you an opportunity to speak if you so desire, and you will be able to even talk to us after the meeting. During the week or anytime, you can call any of the commissioners. Before we start this meeting, I need to remind the commissioners and all of you that's present that we do have a mission statement. Behind me is a mission statement of what we're all about in Northampton County. We're about providing the very best services we can for the citizens of Northampton County. Also, you know that if you have a mission statement, always ought to be a vision statement. That is where you want to see our county go in years to come. What would our county be like 10 years, 20 years from now? We must make those kinds of decisions that will reflect, not only reflect and help us, but what will help the county in years to come. So there is our mission statement, and there is our vision statement. We at this time are going to move forward with our meeting. I am calling this meeting to order because we do have a quorum. All of our commissioners are present this evening. Again, commissioners, thank you. Good seeing you as we begin to move forward with our agenda. Before we move forward, we do know we live in America, and we do know that we ought to have an opportunity for a moment of silence, if you would, for just a few moments, whatever you so desire to think about during this moment of silence is entirely up to you, but we do ask that you join us in just a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, we do know that we live in the United States of America. We do note we have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. If you so desire, we please stand with us. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. At this time, board members, you do have an agenda before you. This agenda was given to you some time ago. You had the opportunity to go through it. We do know that today there were at least one change, and our vice chair would tell us what that change is in our agenda. But board members, you have an opportunity to add or delete any other things from this agenda that needs to be deleted. Vice Chairman.
Yes. Item number 10. Our Director of Social Service has asked that we defer that action item until our April board meeting. Not able to be with us today.
Well, members, do you have any other items on this agenda that need to be eliminated? Are there any other items that you want to add on this agenda at this time?
We do need to remove some items from the consent agenda because they were just for information at our last meeting.
Okay, but when I ask for that, when we go through that, get to agenda of dealing with consent agenda, I'll ask you to name those items out at that time that we don't need to vote on as because it will not make motion.
Okay.
Okay? If you don't mind. Board members, y'all clear?
Clear.
This is our first time doing this, so we do note that we want to make sure that only the items on the consent agenda are those that we are approving. Are there any other questions about the agenda? If so, I need to speak now. Any other board members have a question about the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move approve of the agenda with the deletion of item number 10 as presented by Vice Chair.
Mr. Elvis has made a motion. Could I have a second? Second, we've been moved and properly second that we will adopt the agenda that we have before you. Are there any questions or any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it known by usual sign aye.
Aye.
Faulkner.
Next Taylor.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much. Vice Chairman, will you read for us the conflict of interest statement?
Of course. In accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in section 153A44 of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter.
No conflict.
No conflict, Faulkner.
No conflict.
No conflict, Next Taylor.
No conflict. Thank you so much. And now we shall move to our consent agenda with the elimination of those things which are not needing a motion on at this time. Will you do that, lead us in that, Commissioner Faulkner?
Yes, if we can remove wave 2 opioid litigation settlement, that was for information. If we will remove the proposal to increase rural fire protection contract fee, that was for information for our board budget season. If we will remove proposed increase to paramedic EMT pay rate, again, that was for information to consider doing the budget adoption process. And if we will change from proposal to approve the non-renew contract for FCC.
You've heard the.
Vice Chair Faulkner, the wave 2 opioid litigation settlement, there was a proposed resolution with that to enter into that. So I would recommend that stay in the consent agenda.
So then that leaves for removal the rate increases for the rural fire protection and the paramedic EMT rate, if I'm correct.
Board members, you've heard the recommendations coming from our vice chairman on the things that we need to approve tonight. Are there any question, any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
If we would add resolution to the end of the wave 2 opioid litigation settlement, add resolution.
Any others? Any others? Board members, any others? If not, could I have a motion that we approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
With a proper second, that we would approve this consent agenda. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it known by usual sign aye.
Aye.
Next Taylor.
Faulkner.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. This time, we're going into a public hearing for special use application and rezoning request. This time, we're in that public hearing. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. Flynn if you'll please come forward at this time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for everybody coming tonight. The first public hearing will, according to the agenda, will be the one dealing with the 2 special use requests, I believe. That's for one on Spuds Lane and one on, I think it's Barrow Trail, I believe, Gilt Lane, I'm sorry. The purpose of this decision paper is to receive and consider public input on a public use request that if it is granted, would allow the applicant to construct a system to capture methane gas released from hog lagoons and then transport it and infuse it into the existing natural gas pipeline system. Some of the facts relevant here, and I'm gonna have to turn this over to the applicant very soon because they're very much more prepared to explain it than I am. But the applicant proposes to construct this methane recovery system on two separate swine farms located on parcel numbers 0800681 0106232. Parcels are respectively located along Spuds Lane outside of Pleasant Hill and Gilt Lane outside of Gaston, North Carolina. Parcel number 0800681 is the Pleasant Hill Farm. It's a 392 acre farm and is zoned light industrial and has had a swine operation there since 1994. Parcel number 0106232 is the Gaston operation, which is 788 acres in size and zoned agricultural residential. And it too is a swine operation that was established in 1990. The Northampton County Planning Board gave this proposed project a favorable recommendation. As I stated earlier, they're better equipped to explain, but as in layman's terms, they plan to build a tent over the lagoons, capture the methane gas, clean it, put it in a natural gas pipeline. So for use, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm sure you'll do more. It's just easier to understand that way. The applicant is requesting a special use to construct the system. And this method is in use in other places throughout the country. I put these two together, but should you decide to, in your decision-making process, whether it be for or against, please make two decisions, one for each parcel. Okay. And that's all I have, sir, unless there are any questions from the board.
I want to know, are there any citizens who want to speak on that subject? If so, will you? Okay.
I'm not deciding to speak, but the information we can give has been very vague. So it will be more beneficial for us to hear from. The interest.
Clear. All right, at this time, the applicant, we need to hear from the applicant who's making the request. Then we'll open it up.
Okay, thank you. My name is Joe Burschbach. I'm with Raceline Alternative Energy. It's a real privilege to be here this evening. I'm an engineer and a project developer. I'm here to speak with my colleagues here, Craig Westerbeek and Arl Britt with Smithfield Farms, on behalf of Cardinal Bioenergy, which is our partnership that works to install these methane recovery projects at their farms throughout the country. Currently at these hog farms, which we refer to as Gaston and Spuds Lane, they handle the hog manure by routing this into open air lagoons, which go through an anaerobic digestion process, which may emit methane directly into the atmosphere. It's a common practice and is a way of managing waste. What we are proposing to do is taking thick plastic liners, capping these open air lagoons, making them airtight so we can capture the methane that is emitted off the lagoons. We will transport that to a gas processing skid location. It's a series of compressors and membranes that improve the quality of the gas so that we can inject it into the nearby transcontinental pipeline. We're pretty excited about these projects. We've have a great deal of success, and we find a great deal of benefits, not just for local community, but in handling and improving their operations. If there's any questions or.
Board members, do you have any questions you need to ask?
I have a couple. So you're not building any new lagoons?
Correct.
Okay, you're just capturing.
Uh,
And then you say you're cleaning the methane, because I know when they capture methane off a landfill, it's a poorer quality than natural gas.
Correct.
You're improving the quality before you inject it into the system.
That's right. Generally, it's the methane, the gas coming off the lagoons is 65% methane. And we compress that to achieve 99% methane content. And then there's some items that we remove from that stream so that we meet pipeline standards. And we won't expand the lagoons. There's a digester that will be built that will receive some of that waste, but it will not expand the amount of manure that's created or captured. And we'll just add additional storage.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
When you talk about methane gas provide clarity for me. Is that a greenhouse type of gas?
That's correct.
That's a greenhouse type of gas.
If I may,
Yes, you may.
it's 25 times more potent than greenhouse gas. Probably
Other board members got questions?
Yes, where are current practices of this capturing process in the United States? Where are they actually located?
Yes, ma'am, very good question. We have installed around 88 of these digester systems in Missouri, another 26 in Utah, 4 in Arizona, and I'm talking about the digesters themselves and proposed various systems, 8 systems in Missouri and one larger in Utah, Arizona, Oklahoma, North Carolina, down in around in Warsaw area of North Carolina. We're starting construction in Southeast Virginia. Trying to make sure I don't miss a state here. But there's literally, we've installed over 120 digesters across the state.
So I have 3 questions. Have there been any hazardous situations created in any of these areas?
Okay.
What are the benefits to those that are living around that area for this to happen? Smell,
So,
whatever.
To the degree, there's a perception of odor from the breakdown. In essence, we're capturing the emissions from breakdown of the units. So to the degree there's odor, there'll be a reduction from that, but we're capturing all that. The methane leaves as pipeline quality natural gas. Any constituents that would have odor in them will either be oxidized through a thermal oxide or removed through a hydrogen sulfide removal system.
And the flip side, if I was living next door or half a mile down the road, what would be the disadvantages for my property?
I honestly can't.
I said 3, 4. You said when you clean it, oh, I understand, because I know the citizens, they're listening and they're having to make their decisions about whether or not it's gonna decrease their property value, increase their property value, no substantial, I know you can't make that decision, but if I went to live in an area and it was smelling really bad, it might be hard for me to try to sell that property. But not, I've lived in areas like that and I didn't smell it after a while. They said, get used to it, but not when you leave and come back. When you leave and go out for an hour or so, you still smell it. You said that when you did the cleaning process, for lack of a better word, there's the trash or the part that you can't use. What actually happens with that?
Yes, so primarily biogas is suggested 60-70% methane, which is powerful greenhouse gas. It's 30 to 40% CO2. And there's minor amounts, small amounts of hydrogen sulfide and VOC that would have some odor and likely would constitute odor in the case of a open air lagoon. In all those cases, they would be removed by a H2S removal system into iron oxide in an iron oxide media that would be transported off the site. So therefore, they stay on the site to transport it off to H2S, and then it would go through open flare, which would oxidize all those compounds. When you oxidize any compound, so instead of H2S, it'd be, for instance, SO2 sulfide.
And so transported via trucks?
The gas at the gas farm will be transported to a central place where it's cleaned there, and then it will be transported by truck to the other site where it be injected into the natural gas pipeline.
So how does this increase the traffic flow in that community? Or does it?
I think we know that. How many trucks?
Approximately 1 truck per day, sometimes 2, but on rare occasions.
I've asked all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Another board members?
I'd like to know, how have you made the citizens in this area aware of what's getting ready to happen or proposed to happen? Have there been any promotional activities to promote what you're doing so they feel more comfortable about what's getting ready to happen?
I would say we certainly haven't been trying to hide it, but I think it's a good question that I have to answer. We've not specifically sent anything to folks in the community about what we're going to do, although we're very proud of it. So Smithfield has been very public about our intentions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and cover lagoons and that sort of thing. In this specific community, probably not.
Yeah, what's in the?
Yeah, well, Mr. Chairman, I live right off of Bethel Road, Big John Store Road to be exact, and just wanted, I got a lot of calls about, and I have to agree with Mr. Harding in the back, what exactly transparency and like information with my colleague in the Pleasant Hill and Gaston community of exactly what this project is, because perception wise, people say you're expanding production. I'm just saying perception wise. And I think transparency is the best answer so that citizens can hear exactly what's going on and so that they can understand what this project is totally about. Exactly, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it's important that you understand that you're capturing what would otherwise go into the atmosphere.
Clear. That's what I'm talking about, sir. Yes, sir.
I think that worries a lot of people that you're doing something different. You're
Clear.
There's no at all. It's purely as simple as
Sure.
capturing emissions that are otherwise taking place on an ongoing basis legally.
Right, of course.
Capturing that and make it into a renewable.
Sure.
There's a hog farm not far from my house, and if you're gonna take some of that scent away, I must vote for it.
I think that would be the net basis.
I must.
But that's what I was meaning about
It just
transparency,
depends
Mr.
on
Chairman.
What way the wind is blowing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Do you think you'll do it in other hog farms in North? No.
Smithfield's stated goal is we would like to implement this type of technology across our system throughout the United States.
Sure.
And so I would answer your question. We're going to take every opportunity we can within financial reasonability to do that.
Thank you.
And I guess like during the election time, we get flooded with flyers from candidates. And so just as a promotional component, let the citizens know exactly what this is totally about. Yes.
So there's been no public hearing or anything on this.
Tonight is.
Saying you no public hearing with parents, with citizens in their community. Our neighbors.
We notified, we're required to notify.
Oh, okay, so they all come here.
Exactly.
This is first time. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Board members. Now, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, any citizens who desire to speak at this time, you need to identify yourself for the record.
My name is Richie Harding. I am with Northampton First. I live on James Jones Road in Pleasant Hill Township, but the Gaston side of Interstate 95. I'm about a half a mile straight line distance from Smithfield Foods. This is still Murphy Brown Hog Farm that's the location that we're talking about. This began for us about 30 years ago, where we had hog feces in our water. Clean Air of North Carolina came through and tested our well water as well as water in our ditches. They found hog feces there, which came from Smithfield Foods, the hog farm. The cleanup effort has been spectacular for them, but it has been non-existent for us. Everyone basically must use county water because of the pollution that they have created. Or, as the gentleman said, the perception. I guess I'm perceiving to smell hog feces Sunday mornings when I get up. Whenever the wind blows, it's just my imagination, I guess. I guess it's also my perception that Smithfield Foods has taken hog feces and sprayed it in the directions of people's homes, on their clothes, where they live. We have children that go to school smelling like hog feces, being bullied. But once again, their cleanup efforts are just outstanding. But that's my perception. As we have gone on, and this company has been sued numerous times, to the point to where our state representatives in Raleigh seek to pass a law where you couldn't even sue them anymore. But people have had to work. There was a lawsuit recently in Northampton County that was settled, but there's a cap. So even if your judgment is for 200, 300, $400 million, it's like 91 million, maybe a little punitive damages. But even with that, I have seen, or maybe it's my perception, that no effort has been done to clean up anything. There's another lawsuit in the brewing right now. But once again, we are back here. And the thing that really scares us, and this really stops with you with the zoning issue, because our governor is looking at clean energy in a lot of different forms. And he's looking at what they're doing as being fine. So if this land is rezoned where they can move in, they will have a green light. And I will forward you a story, a newspaper article that came out from some of those sandhill counties that they were talking about, Sampson County, where they have more hogs than people, things of that nature, where their lives are basically ruined because of Smithfield Foods and other companies that interact in these practices. So that's why we have so many people here. We have people that are showing up because they are tired. They're tired of smelling it. You have a plan to put a tarp over a lagoon, which we may not even know has been lined since it began. So now you're taking gases that will go up and possibly even push them further back into the ground. So as we're here today, I ask you to get more information. Hold off on this decision, table it, get good, solid information. Not my opinion, not no one else's opinion, but there are scientists that have done the work so that you can make a decision that is beneficial to everyone in Northampton County. And while you have areas like Utah and some of these other places that are underpopulated, did you really have as many people affected by this? Because you have a cause and an effect, but the bad part is the effect. When you have people that are getting sick, we have children, elderly people that are getting sick. But there is one bright spot. I served on the Board of Education, and we have this industry that has done all this harm to our community. They brought us defibrillators. So if we happen to die, they can bring us back to life, pump more poison into us. Thank you, sir, for all you do.
Are there any others? Any others? Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give us your name.
Danny Sexton from Rich Square.
Yes.
I grew up here, spent 25 years here, then I left and went to Georgia. I've been there a couple of decades now. I plan on spending at least 2 or 3 decades back in Northampton County. And I see things coming from Georgia, which is a major metropolitan area. And it brings to my attention some of the things that Northampton County is failing in. The hog farm issue. We raised hogs. But it wasn't a farm, it was just to eat. So when I started coming back about 10, 15 years ago, I noticed the vultures are hanging around, roosting, urinating on stuff. The urine is like acid. And they like to hang around the hog farms. Those vultures like stink. They like anything that smells awful. Dead carcasses, hog feces, hog urine. So there seems to be the buzzards are basically taking over southeast Northampton County. And I understand you can't kill them. How do you shoo them away? You can get up in the morning on 258, 625 South Main Street, and there's 30 buzzards in your backyard. That's not cool. They weren't here 30 years ago. When I grew up here, you see a buzzard every now and then for a deer caucus. And you might not see one for weeks, a month. But they're all over now. And I attribute that to the hog farms. So, do y'all have an answer for the buzzards?
Next, just public comments now. We just need you to.
Okay,
Yes, sir,
well,
with
I
your
mean,
public comments.
that's
Okay.
just one thing, and I'll leave it at that for right now. This is my first meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Back in the county and other meetings, other issues.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any others? Any others? Subject?
Had planned on speaking.
Give your name.
Oh, my name is Roger Nichols. I live on Bryantown Road. And I hadn't planned on speaking tonight because I just wanted to come down and see how this went. And I did not know anything about this coming up about the pig farms. All right, I've moved here last October. Thought I'd moved into God's country. It was like moving to a small town where everybody knew everybody and everybody said, hi, how are you? And it was really nice. I've come from a larger area. And then I found out there was a pig farm right behind my house, less than a quarter of a mile away. And that God's country went to hell on earth. Basically, is what happened. And we are in the process now of trying to do something about it. If you're not familiar of what's going on, these pig farms, and it right there behind my house, I have between 2,000 to 4,000 sitting back there. They're on a slatted floor and they drop their waste right through. That waste is collected and put in a pond. That pond sits there and there's water that's added to it. And from there, they spray it on the fields around the area and they're on their farm. And when they spray it, the smell is so bad that it will wake you up at night. You can't go out the door during the day. I can't have my family over here to have a cookout for it. So my way of life has changed drastically. But anyway, that's old technology. That's been going on ever since 1994, I think, is when the one here right down on Bryantown Road came to existence. I called DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality. They are the people who gives the permits out to each one of these farms. And they just like rubber stamp them. There's so many of them here in North Carolina. North Carolina used to be known for the cigarettes and sale of tobacco and stuff like that, but we know what that's done to our lives. So we changed it from that to pig farms. That's going from bad to worse, if you want to get right down to it. From where a pig farm is, you draw a 6 mile radius around it. That's how much it can affect the air, the water around it. Right here in Northampton County, there are 21 application or permits on file for pig farms. They're all swine. They're not horses, they're not chickens, they're swine. A pig produces 8 times the amount of manure that a person has. That's a lot. It is a very lot that's being put on on the ground. And like I said, it can permeate the ground, it can run off in runoff water. They spray it in the middle of thunderstorms. They don't care. They're getting rid of it out of that lagoon. They have to because they can't let it overflow. And if they do, that causes more problems. All right. So I appreciate the new technologies coming in here. I've read about it. I haven't studied it like I have, but I applaud them for doing something that would alleviate the gases. There's a lot more involved than just methane. And if you go back and you look at these hog farms and how much area, right here in the Jackson area, there's 4 of them within 5 miles of the courthouse. One was 2.3 miles, but it's closed down right now for some reason. But you still have 2 big ones that's in effect. And if you draw that radius, both of them overlap Jackson and right where you're going to put the high school. So think about the danger that you're going to do. I mean, our county water comes from the water tower right there in Jackson. That's 3 miles away from it. How often is that water tested? I don't know. I know DEQ comes out once a year to test that hog farm to make sure they're doing everything right. How long does inspection last? The last one they did was 20 minutes. 20 minutes, one time a year. And we have to live with this. And it's not right. But again, if this new technology works, I'm all for it. And, you know, what does it do to property value? Drops your property value. You live within a mile of a pig farm, your property value drops 10% over a house that's out somewhere else. All right. It doesn't increase it. It decreases it. So the minute I moved in my house, I lost a lot of money. Now, like somebody said, there is a law. There is a law on the books. It's been there since 1985 that says when you go to buy a piece of property within a certain mile of that pig farm, you're supposed to be informed of it. I was not. I'm now in the process of trying to sue somebody. But again, you know, we want to live a good, because most of the people here, look around, they're not young bucks here. You know, it's most of those older people who have breathing problems. Me and my wife both have them. And this does not help her. Believe me, it doesn't. So we're having health problems. The death rate and illness rate of people living within 3 miles of a pig farm is like 10% higher than national average. Well, think about that. So again, there's a lot going on here that needs to be looked at. And like I said, if this is helpful, I'm all for it. The one thing I didn't ask is after you take the methane, is there anything left that's being sprayed on the fields? Or is it dried out and maybe hauled out as far as the rest of the manure and stuff? That's one thing we need to look at. So we still could be getting rid of the gas, which might take care of the smell, but we're still doing the contamination problem. So, like I said, I wasn't planning on coming here tonight. It was going to be the next time, but I couldn't stand it. I appreciate it and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Another citizen. Another citizen. No opportunity. Yes, you have two.
Board members, the clerk to the board received 2 comments online. They were from Brian Stevens and Mike Collier, both from Garysburg. Their comment was that they would like the commissioners to reconsider allowing the property along Barrow Road to be changed to a methane recovery system.
Yes.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Blakely Hildebrand. Excuse me. I'm an attorney with the Southern Environmental Law Center. Sure. Can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Blakely Hildebrand. I'm an attorney with the Southern Environmental Law Center. And I just learned about this project late last week when a landowner let me know that they had received the public notice that the board sent to this landowner who lives adjacent to one of the properties at issue in your decision today. And I just want to echo what others have said. I am not a resident of Northampton County, and this is, of course, your decision to make. But as someone who's been working on this issue, the impact of biogas on communities and the environment for the last many years, I would strongly advise the commission or the board to delay their decision about this in order to gather more information. Many of you have raised some very important questions, as have members of the community here, about what this project entails, what open questions are yet to be answered and to be resolved. And this is a significant change for these facilities that are subject or that are the subject of your zoning decisions tonight. This is not simply putting a cap on a hog waste lagoon and walking away and everything's fine. There is still waste that's stored in an open air pit. Waste is still sprayed onto spray fields. Based on the research that we've reviewed over the last several years, it's our understanding that when you cap a hog waste lagoon, you actually increase ammonia emissions. Ammonia emissions are a precursor to very harmful pollutants that can cause health problems for people who live nearby. And as someone just mentioned a few minutes ago, there is ample evidence and there's been ample studies showing that people who live near these hog operations get sick more often, stay sick for longer, and die sooner than people who live farther away. So this is not just a matter of a zoning decision. This is also a decision that will implicate the health of people who live nearby these operations. I'll just flag a couple of issues that I would encourage the board to consider as they make this decision, some unanswered questions that I don't believe, heard the answers to this evening. Where will the gas be transported? If it's not transported somewhere, it will simply be flared, which is not a solution to our climate crisis. What will Smithfield do to address these potential increased ammonia emissions? How will Smithfield address the potential increased potency of the waste that it's applying onto fields? Are there well water users that live nearby any of these sites because their groundwater may be at risk? Can Smithfield back up their claims of solving the climate crisis or addressing the climate crisis? And can they address their claims that this is a truly renewable energy resource by providing you with additional information? I would suggest, as someone who's been working on this issue for some time, that those claims that simply capping a hog waste lagoon does not solve our climate crisis, and there's no way that millions of gallons of hog feces are a source of renewable energy. Again, would advise this board to proceed with caution. There are many other questions that have not yet been answered or even raised in the course of tonight's discussion, but in the interest of time and allowing you to move on to your other business, I'll stop there. But thank you for the opportunity to ask a few questions.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Board members, do you have any questions that you'd like to discuss? You have any comments you want to make at this time? Board members.
Could we get, I'm an engineer myself. Could we get some information on the process, more technical information and so forth that I could study? How are your lagoons lined, that type of thing? Well,
I think that's all part of the application package to the quality. I think it's also something we brought to the planning board. But sure, additional information on that, of course. If I may, I'd like to address a couple of questions. One was, what's Smithfield going to do with the methane? And I think we've already said it's going to a Trans-Canadian pipeline to be used by whoever uses natural gas downstream of that. That's where it's going. Unnecessary. In terms of ammonia, gas to the site, we've been looking at the impact of ammonia, which when Bill Raines has talked about, we do not see an increase in ammonia or ammonia emissions post digester at all. But even despite that, at the gas farm, we are planning on putting oxygen diffusers in the open there. So even though it's not more, it'll be less. So that's standpoint. That's the plan at that point.
Thank you. Board members, any other board member? Any others? Board members, what I've heard tonight is from citizens. What I've heard from citizens tonight is that we do all have a concern. Again, I just told you a few moments ago, I stay within a mile of Hall Lagoon. But what I want you to know is that the Hall Lagoons have not been something that this present board approved, had anything to do with. It was done to us previously, okay? Coming before us tonight is not to build any more of those. Coming tonight before us is what we're gonna do. What's the best thing to do since we got them? What can we do to resolve and make the best use of them as we have them in the county? I do appreciate you coming tonight. We all appreciate you. We all want to hear from you. But I want to make sure that you understand, we got the Hall Farms already here. Now, is this a method that we can use to eliminate some of the order and yet to use that for gas? That's what coming before the board tonight. And board members, that's what you have to wrestle with tonight. It is not that we are authorizing any additional, enlarging anything. What we're gonna do with the gases that we have right now. But what I hear, board members, you're saying that you need some more information. Am I right? I'm just trying to get a sense of the board. Okay, we
Totally,
totally. Okay, we want some more information.
because it's ambiguity.
You're right. It's coming before us, facts on exactly what this process is about, so that all of us will have a better understanding. Because we don't ever want to do anything that's harmful to the citizens of our county. We want to make sure that we're making the very best decision we can make. So at this time, the public hearing is over, and let us go into some kind of discussion about where we go from here on these two proposals.
Chairman Turner.
Yes,
A part of the process is an application that we only receive a subset of that information. Our zoning board had the full application with a lot of the information, from my understanding, that some of us have questions about, not all of it, but some of us have questions about. So I would like to, for one, I would like information on ammonia tests that have been completed in the areas that you have the process in place, the technology in place, that are close, that have citizens as close to the lagoons as the citizens in the area that you're looking to install this technology. So if you have any of those tests, if you can provide those water test results.
air test results.
Air test results, any results, and then the full, I would like to see the full packet. We do have a zoning board for a reason to go through these things, but the final decision we have to make, and I really would like to see maybe at our next work session, have the ability to go through all of this information again before we potentially make a decision at the next board meeting. My thoughts.
Board members,
There's no technical data on the process that we have, it's a lot of math. But yes, ma'am, I'll get you everything.
Thank you, Mr. Swain. Could I have a motion that we table this until that time?
Mr. Chair, I move we out of the public hearing, correct?
Yes,
Certain.
next board meeting.
For the decision or for the additional conversation? I'm sorry.
April the 3rd.
6 o'clock, April 3rd.
We're at 6 o'clock. For information, it'll be on the agenda just as it is right now.
And at the April 3rd session, that's a work session, so we don't make decisions on that night, but
Have the
we
information.
do have the ability
Information.
for information.
Right, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table the decision about rezoning properties until our work session to receive. Thank you so much, Mr. Flynn. Okay, thank you. Special use, is that right, Mr. Flynn? Okay, until our work session on April the 3rd to receive more information.
Second.
I second it.
We would probably second that we would table this until our next meeting, where our work session, that we have more information before us. Are there any questions?
Yes, I think we need to be clear on what information we need. So is that something that we can get to Mr. Flynn?
That's right. That'd be fine.
Is there can we agree on a timeline to get what we need as a individual or collective board so that they have time to get that information before at the April meeting?
Mr. Flynn said
He doesn't have some of the information. He has mostly maps. Yeah.
you think y'all could have it to us in the next 15 days?
Yes, sir.
What it is you desiring, what we desire. So board members, if you would let them know what you desire, let our county manager know, and let our clerk to the board know, we will get that information for you. Okay.
Can we have it by Friday
Like so.
by Friday? It just helps if we have like a timeline, so we all are clear on when we need to get things where
Okay,
Friday would be good for anybody's question.
That's fair.
all in favor, let know about you sign aye.
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 Those may ayes have, motion is carried. Thank you so much.
Got a comment, Mr. Chair.
But see, the testing results that I'm asking for are testing results on lagoons in the areas that they're in, that process is in existence. So I don't know if we can have the water from.
If there's some information you need, put it in writing to us, if you don't mind. Please put it in writing to us, what information you want, and we'll include it in our packet. Yes,
Soil test,
yes.
you let us know, let me know, I can get it, test our stuff as well.
We're depending on those people who had the application to get all the information to us. And we have no problem giving you that information so that you can do further testing or whatever you need to do and present it to us. Okay, but if I mean, if we have it, okay. All right, board members, our next area plan. We need a recess to go another public hearing.
Sir.
Man, you got us tonight, didn't you? Yes, sir. Okay.
Mr.
Flynn.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure I'm hearing Mr. Harding's request. Mr. Harding, would you restate what you were saying just for clarity in our? Yes, sir. Clear. I agree.
We have no problem.
I agree.
Board members, we have no problem. The information is.
No, contrasting information.
Right.
Sure,
You send it to me, I will use it down for it.
fair.
No problem.
Thank you.
Mr. Flynn.
Need to open up a new public hearing, sir.
Yes. I
We did? Okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
I
missed
did.
that.
I just,
My apologies.
okay, no problem.
This is the rezoning hearing. Okay. So, the purpose of this public hearing is to receive and consider public comment on a proposed rezoning of 24.17 acres of land from light industrial to agricultural residential. That if granted, will allow the property owner to construct a residential structure on the property. The property is located off High Bridge Road, about a half mile north of the intersection of High Bridge Road and Mount Carmel Road in Seaboard, North Carolina. And the actual subject property that started this is 0802901. Parcel is 24.17 acres in size and is currently zoned light industrial. The parcel was originally parted out of an 85.56 acre parent tract. Residential structures are not permitted in light industrial zoning districts. However, they are allowed as permitted uses in agricultural residential zoning districts. The parcels surrounding the subject parcel are also zoned for light industrial use. Northampton County Planning Board gave this rezoning action a favorable recommendation as well. As I stated, the property owner parted this subject out from the parent tract with the intent of building a home, but was, I believe, unaware that it was zoned light industrial. And when he came to us for permits and et cetera, that's when it came to light that it was light industrial property or is light industrial property. Further on in my discussion is if this property is rezoned from light industrial to agricultural residential, it would essentially create a hole in the donut effect. You've got a bunch of light industrial property and not quite in the middle, but somewhere surrounded in that would become this agricultural residential piece. This would very well be considered illegal spot zoning. The size of the property is plenty big to be rezoned, but everything around it is different. So based on this, we had proposed that you take into consideration, and we made the mailings as such, that you rezone the parent tract that it came out of, as well as the two additional tracts to the south. If you look at the map attached to the decision paper, it's got the green highlighting on it and the yellow hatched areas. Looks like this. All right, the hatched area is the actual 24-acre site. The yellow area is the parent tract of land that it came out of. So to avoid the spot zoning issue, if we rezoned all of that and the two adjacent properties immediately to the south, that would eliminate the spot zoning issue. So I would just pause for a moment, if that's okay, ma'am. Doing that would effectively change the light industrial zoning border a little bit further to the north and allow the AR, a portion of AR property to go up into that area now. Sorry, got off track a little bit. The original applicant, Mr. Long, requested this action to rezone his property so that he would be able to build a home on parcel of land that he acquired, maybe family land. He's here tonight. There you are, right over my shoulder. I believe it was family land, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
We've had it since 19.
Okay. But not a lot of people want to put up the whole 85 acres for a house or something like that. I'm sure you understand. Based on what I've talked to you about, staff recommends that should you decide to rezone property 0802901, that the parent tract that was separated from be considered for rezoning, as well as the two tracts to the south. And I've included the parcel numbers in the paper as well. Whichever decision you make, you're now with the 160D with the new comprehensive land use plan and all we went through, there's a statement that would have to be signed as well. So we'll make sure we cover that regardless of the decision that's made tonight. And sir, if Mr. Long would like to speak, he's right here behind me. Other than that, that's all I have. And if you have any questions of me, I'd be glad to answer.
Mr. Long, please come.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tell us about building this new home on this land and doing the changing the zoning on it.
Right. So my wife and I and our children, we wanted to build a home out in the country. We just recently moved back down this way we were living up near Richmond, and my family's owned land in the county all my life. This particular tract was owned by my mom and dad. They bought it in the late 80s. And it was a shock to me there was zone light industrial to start with. I had no idea. And I don't think they ever knew it either. So we've worked with Mr. Breedlove and figured out a spot on the land that would perk and carved it off. And yeah, we just set it up and we wanted to build a house.
Thank you, sir. Board members, do you have any questions? Let them ask, are there any citizens who want to speak first? Any citizen want to speak about this rezoning? Board members, now, do you have any questions you need to ask at this time? Board members,
Yes.
The two
Yes.
parcels to the south, who owns those?
Um,
The two parcels to the south that you want to also rezone.
I know that the one right next to us is Jimmy Bly and his sister owned the other one. I'm not sure, looking at the GIS map, it's in someone else's name now, so I'm not sure about this second one.
He's correct on the first part.
Okay.
Immediately,
Right.
immediately south of the one beyond that is. Well, I forget her name. I'm not gonna know how to- you know, there's- get that. Get that.
Is there any objection
to them.
on their part to be rezoned?
We've not heard any, we've not had any comments. Sorry.
We've not had any comments regarding any of the rezoning action at all. I haven't heard from anybody. We did have one person call in and ask what it was about, and we explained it to them, but they had no objection or any support either way.
Thank you, both board members. Commissioner. Any other question?
No.
Any other question?
None.
Board members,
No.
any other question? Yes, sir, ask.
Mr. Flynn, on those two properties to the south that you're suggesting to rezone to avoid the spot zoning, are there any, so what activities are going on those parcels if you
Currently,
know?
it's wooded. It's currently wooded forest land, and by looking at the GIS map, it appears to be a tree farm. But it's just very clear, very straight, nice, neat rows of trees. Somebody's maintaining it.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm there was no light industrial activity going on those parcels.
There's actually none in that area.
All right, thank you.
That was my wondering, how did it all
How
get
did you-
light
how did
industrial
you-
anyway?
It's an area in the county that back in, we adopted zoning in 94. There's an area back then that it has infrastructure access. It's near a gas line. It's not too far from a major highway if you kind of cut through. So that area had some zoning issues. They called it light industrial. It did grow a little bit back in 2011, I think, added a little bit more to it, but nothing's ever happened out there.
Board members, are there any other questions? If not, then we're gonna move to out of the hearing. And now we're going back into regular session. You've had a report from our zoning board, and what is your pleasure, board members? Your pleasure. What is your pleasure?
Chairman Tyner, looking at the map, the parcels surrounding the present use of the parcels around it and the intended use of the applicant, along with the recommendation of our zoning board, I make a motion that we grant the request to rezone 24 and 1700ths of an acre of land from light industrial to agricultural residential and agricultural residential to allow the property owner to do their intended plans for the property. What else do I need to put up here?
So,
The adjacent,
and
okay. Okay, accept the recommendation of the subject parcel 08-202, as a math person, saying zero before a number just kills me. 08-02901, the parcel tract that is separated from 08-02900 and the two parcels to the south, 08-02633 and 08-02632, to be rezoned from light industrial LI to agricultural residential AR. And to permit the, guess we have to, just a little statement, so we would use the second part of the statement of conformance.
I have a second.
Second.
Proper second that we would rezone the parcels of land that given to us in the motion. Are there any questions and discussion? If not, all in favor, then let it be known by you just saying aye.
Broadnax Taylor,
Al Faulkner.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you building a house in Northampton County. We need some house tops, roofs. It's what we need in Northampton County.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you. This time we have proposed candidate for Turning Point Workforce Development Board. Our clerk to the board went through the applications. These were the applications that were, this one application was one that was given. We did not, however, advertise no more than we had in the past about a person needed for this position. You have the information by Erica Smith in our information. And it seems as though she meets all the requirements for that.
Chairman Town, I make a motion that we approve the appointment of Erica D. Smith from Pimlico, North Carolina in Northampton County to serve on the Turning Point Workforce Development Board.
I have a second.
Second.
Move proper second that Ms. Smith will serve on the board for us on behalf of Northampton County. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let know by usual sign aye.
Aye.
Broadnax Taylor,
Al Faulkner.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you, Commissioners. As we move forward, as we continue to move Trillium, will you please come forward with an annual update?
Yes, I will. And I will give you a very brief update. this
Thank you,
evening.
thank you, thank you.
All right, as long as I can figure out how to work this thing. All right, you said I cut it on and then I flip it. All right. So thank you for letting me come this evening, Chairman, Commissioners. It's nice to be here tonight. My name is Bobby Lowe. I'm the Northern Regional Director with Trillium Health Resources. This is my first time being here. You remember Mr. Baker. He retired recently after 30 years of public service. So I am your new Northern Regional Director and look forward to working with you. Tonight, I'm going to go over very briefly a little bit about who we are, some Medicaid transformation changes, some county data, and a little bit of organizational changes. So we serve 28 counties. Most recent added Halifax and Bladen, which Halifax was a really great add with Northampton. They work really well together. Our total population is 1.5 million. We served almost 46,000 individuals with behavioral health services last year. We have a network of about 550 providers, and those services came to about $520 million. We're broken up into 3 regions. Northampton is in our northern region. So a little teeny bit about Medicaid transformation. You've been hearing about this probably since 2018. But Medicaid transformation for individuals who are on standard plans went live on July 1st. Most individuals who have Medicaid are now served with one of the 5 standard plans, and there are 4 commercial plans and 1 provider-led entity. And they actually also cover people who have mild to moderate behavioral health needs. And so what that really means is everyone who is receiving behavioral health treatment that is no longer just through Trillium, people are now receiving that through one of those 5 standard plans. For tailored plans, the 6 LME MCOs, which is what we are, a local management entity, managed care organization, we will be going live as a tailored plan. And we're going to be serving those with the more severe mental health, substance use, or developmental disabilities. Since this was sent out, this information has changed. When this was sent out, we were going live on April 1st. As of February 27th, the state has pushed that date back to October. They want to make sure there's adequate network to support everyone. At Trillium, we've pretty much met our benchmarks. We're ready to go. The way it is designed right now, it is all or nothing. All 6 have to be ready to move forward. So right now, our new go live date is October 1st. Those are the regions. They don't change. One of the biggest changes with tailored plan is that we're going to manage total health care. So individuals who are on our plan who have severe behavioral health needs, they will continue to get behavioral health services through us like they have for like the past 30 years. Now their physical health is also going to go through us. So we're going to be contracting with about 2,000 pharmacies, and we've got to have staff to manage those 2,000 pharmacy contracts and thousands of physical health care providers. So we'll be doing primary care. If you go to see a cardiologist, a physical therapist, all that will come through us. And we have a standard plan partner who's going to help manage that physical health care. Just a couple organizational changes. The SOC staff, who have always been the ones who are the boots on the ground, they have moved from our department and moved into care management. We added a position called community liaison coordinators, and they work directly in counties. And so there is a community liaison coordinator who works in about 4 or 5 counties, including Northampton. And they attend a lot of your public meetings and stuff just to always put that mental health perspective in those meetings. One change that does affect a lot of people is our call centers. We still have our crisis line. That hasn't changed. We still have our member and recipient service line. We recently added a provider line that is directly for our providers, so they can call us with their dedicated number and get information about providing services to the people we support. We're also going to be adding a pharmacy line because we'll be managing pharmacy benefits, and a nurse's line. Our care management is doing more whole person care now because we're looking at the whole person. And we've added a couple new care management specific teams. We have a team that does rapid access care coordination that typically works on kids who have really high level immediate needs. We also have a team that specifically works with youth who are involved in DJJ. And we developed a team that focuses on people who are in emergency departments. And so when our members end up in emergency rooms, they help with what that disposition will be. A couple updates on projects. We also got a little bit of opioid settlement funds. And so what we did with ours is we put it back out into grants into our community. And there have been a couple of those that have served Northampton. We did one round earlier this year, and we just finished up a second round February 28th, and we will be announcing those soon. We opened up something called the Healing Place in New Hanover, and I know that New Hanover is not necessarily close, but all 28 counties have access to go there. And that is kind of a long-term substance abuse facility, so people can go for about 18 months and receive treatment. So there's one thing I do want to talk about a little bit, because this is new, and this is called Healthy Opportunities Pilot. And so in real layman's terms, without reading all the stuff on the slide, what that means is it's going to allow Medicaid to cover evidence-based interventions around social determinants of health. And so you're thinking of housing, transportation, food access, all these things that are really important to health, but are typically not covered. So there's these pilot programs, and Northampton is one of the covered ones. They're covered under Access East. And so individuals will have access to real specific evidence-based interventions to see if we address these social determinants of health, do we have better outcomes? Because we all know that when you address all of those things, people's lives improve. So hopefully these pilots will, give an opportunity to show how addressing these things can improve overall health for individuals. Some specific Northampton County numbers: we served 516 people last fiscal year, 389 for mental health, 130 for substance use, and 66 for developmental disabilities. And those are unduplicated numbers because people very often receive more than one kind of service. That's all I got.
Thank you. Board members, if you have any questions you need to ask, you did a fine job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for bringing us information about Mr. Edwards served on that board representing Northampton County. So, Mr. Edwards, we want to know that you have any questions or anything you need to add to it.
And as always, thank you so much for the service you provide to citizens here in Northampton County.
Okay, board members, and other board members have any questions? Lee, if you got any questions? Our county manager will certainly be back in touch with you. Our health department will be back in touch with you because we plan to use you over and over again in helping us with drug problems.
Happy
Okay,
to be here. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm at tab number 9, which is proposed changes of playground equipment for Rich Square. I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Faulkner, if you would, at this time, because we see some mistakes that were made on the presentation. I think the only thing we had left from last time was one piece of equipment we needed to change instead of swings, and we didn't see that change up here, but I think Commissioner Faulkner has that change that we want to do.
Yes, the three options that we were given the last time, I was asked to kind of research the feel of the citizens in the Rich Square area. So there was a survey that was done via social media. There was a meeting with the town council, and there was a meeting with a subgroup of citizens that shared kind of where we were with the playground equipment. All of those like the option of the three-way lava rock climber. Some gave some very specific feedback as far as building children's body strength and coordination with that last one, and the dangers that they have seen in the dome climber not being used properly with students. And then the first one being a very complicated piece of equipment, and worrying that kids would use that inappropriately when they didn't know how to use it appropriately. And that was the Cubis 4 climber. So between the Cubis 4 climber, the dome climber, and the three-way lava rock climber, the three-way lava rock climber between all groups of people was the preferred option. So I would like to ask that our board replace the swings on the playground equipment proposal for the Creasy Center project with the three-way lava rock climber.
Thank you. Well, no, this has been before, so 2 or 3 times. Let's see, can we resolve this tonight? Please, playground equipment. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Can I have a second?
Second.
We move the proper second. We have equipment that our vice chairman just described to us. They ready for your question? All in favor, let know by you sign aye.
Aye.
I brought next Taylor.
I Faulkner.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you all. The equipment is solved.
Absolutely.
At this time.
Mhm.
At this time, thank you, Vice Chairman, for doing that. At this time, Vice Chairman, I need you to talk about our strategic plan, if you would, for just a few moments. We've had it before, and now we're talking about what we're gonna do in the next 4 years.
Yes, the strategic plan that we have before you as the plan that was presented to us, I guess we've seen it now about 3 or 4 times. And from our last meeting, our work session, there were some dates provided and some removal of some dates provided. And so, of course, this is in the raw form. We'll do a nice, pretty one once we agree that this is what our priorities will be. But I'll just present that to the board as our strategic plan for 2023, 2027.
Board members, you had any questions about this plan? This plan been before you again, three times. Got any changes we want to make, we can do so. If not, I ask you tonight to adopt this plan that we have to. Now, the plan always can be updated. You all know that. And the plan probably got some wish list on it that we might not be able to, but at least we got something to before us, give us some direction to give our administration, our county manager and finance department, give them some type of some goals that we would try to meet. And all of this, of course, will depends on how much monies we receive and how much we receive from the state and federal, and how much we can save right now in our own organization that we have. So could I have a motion that we would, you've seen this, we can add to it at any time, I'll just bring it back to the board. We all agree we can change it. We can upscale it, downscale it, whatever we need to do, but we need a plan.
Absolutely.
I can't go nowhere without a plan. We need a plan. Do you have any questions about the plan?
So, Mr. Chairman, if I'm hearing you correctly, we can add to the plan.
Yes.
If we need to.
Yes,
right?
yes, ma'am. If the state comes down tomorrow and says you got $1 million for something that we don't have on this plan, yes, we can change it. I mean, I just use that for an example. And then we might get down the road and say, you know what? We need more people to have good water in our county. We want some more funds to go in that we can do it.
So
Okay,
it's a working plan.
it's a working plan. Yes, yes.
With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the 2023-2027 Northampton County Strategic Plan.
I have a second. Have a second.
Second.
Problem second, we got through the strategic plan that we have. Are there any questions in discussion? If not, all in favor, let know by you just sign aye.
Aye.
Ibronax Taylor,
Faulkner.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much. At this time, we do have from our county manager, finance department, I think you have a budget amendment that we need to address at this time that was given to us. We had in consent. It's already in consent agenda. It's already been approved, so you're fine. Additional funds that were given to us and we took care of that in consent. Okay, thank you. So we make sure we're within law. Okay, at this time, we're gonna have citizens who want to speak to the board. If you would give your forms to our county manager, and our county manager at this time will let us have those. And while you're doing that, county manager, is there anything that you want to bring to our attention at this time?
Just wanted to thank everyone for coming out. It's always honor and a privilege to see the citizens to come out who are concerned about what's going on in the county. We definitely appreciate each and every one of you. In the admin building, we've been working hard. Can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Forms are on the desk.
You got a form.
Can y'all hear me?
Okay.
You can hear me? We've been working on the budgets, working towards the budgets and getting all the department heads together, and my budget team and I, who consist of the finance officer and my administrative assistant, who was also the clerk to the board. We've been meeting with every one of the department heads. We have done that. We've completed that review, that preliminary review. We are now consolidating all of that information and working on preparing for our presentation to the commissioners. It's been a great gathering of information, and if there are any department heads who are watching on tonight, I do commend you all for your participation and getting that information to us so that we can prepare for this budget season. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. This time we have a citizen.
Citizens, when you're recognized, please come to the podium and identify yourself. Your comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Should you have any questions of the board, you will receive a subsequent response from the board or county staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. Under North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for citizen comments for the purposes of allowing public commentary on county business. This time is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair has the authority to maintain the order and decorum of this meeting.
Thank you. At this time, we do have one from Vicki Evans. You'll come forward, please.
Good evening. My name is Vicki Evans. I have some concerns about the Lake Gaston proposed cultural and wellness center. From what we've seen so far, the different offices that are shown to be included in this cultural and wellness center are not all needed out there at the lake right now. One of your mission statements is to provide essential services, and we have several that you're duplicating that we don't feel like we need them. There are several restaurants that have bars where you can buy liquor. You don't need another one. The medical clinic over on River Road is being updated right now with X-ray capability and will reopen soon. So we don't need another medical clinic. There's a community center located on Highway 46 and River Road, which is very seldom used right now. So we don't need another community center. Several boat marinas in this area. We don't need another boat marina there. There's a gym right there on River Road. We don't need another gym. So I'm just wondering who made up this list? Was it someone that maybe is not familiar with all the services that are the essential services that are already there? Was nobody at Lake Gaston contacted about what businesses were needed? We're just wondering where all this big list came from that many of us don't feel are needed right now. The people who live at the lake probably could have answered some of these questions like, do you need a gym? Do you need another restaurant? That would be a bar. We were also told that there would be a membership card. We're just wondering why there would be a membership card if this is an essential service that's going to be put at the lake. Will these membership cards have a cost for anybody? Will there be age limits? What are the representative? Well, what would they represent? Who would be able to use them?
Thank you. We'll reply to you. Our attorney's taking down all the information, board members, and we will certainly give it back to you in writing. Thank you.
That will come to me in writing?
Yes.
Soon?
Yeah, within the 30 days.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay, the next one is Tricia, what's the last name? Montrace. Okay, sorry. I couldn't understand it. Okay,
I think I had a couple of questions on there.
yes,
One was, who was the assessor company that did this assessing at the Lake Gaston or Northampton County? The second one was, but then I had some questions on the back regarding education and what's being done and what's the current plan to give the students remedial information and help and assistance that they are so severely lacking.
yes, ma'am. Got it. We got it. We will respond to you in writing.
In 30 days.
Yeah, we'll do that in 30 days. Okay, we'll respond to you. I promise we'll respond to you. Okay, we have one more, Kay Powell.
Good morning. Good evening. Feels like it's been a night.
Yeah.
I'm interested in finding out who is giving us this grant money, who's putting up the funds for the grant money for the sewage that you want to run out to the lake.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give that to you.
Appreciate it.
We'll give that to you. We'll give that to you.
And the time frame
Okay.
of when it will start.
That's what you want to know. Okay.
Yeah. We have lots of questions, but that'll do for
I
now.
mean, if you got any others, let us know. And you don't have to do it in this type of setting either. You can do it with us individual or call us and we'll be glad to talk with you. We're just in a business session now. And but you can call us anytime. We'll answer them. Okay. Danny Saxon. Yes, sir.
About the proposed walking trail,
Mhm.
playgrounds, et cetera, et cetera. My son's family lives right across the ditch from the playground. No one surveyed them or asked them, about privacy issues, noise issues. They've been on that site since 1886, I believe. Mr. Wally Flood bought that property. And he was a teacher at W.S. Creasy High School. Probably it was called the Rich Ware Academy at that time. And it evolved into being the W.S. Creasy School. The playground will be right in their backyard. And if you want to go outside and cook out, chill on a nice, beautiful day, that's going to be a distraction and noise pollution if it's used. The question is, did anybody survey 625 South Main Street? They have 2 acres back right up to the playground.
Okay, we hear you. That we can tell you more in our remarks about when we'll be down there. You can probably ask that questions in a minute more. Were there any others? We're listening. We're listening. Are there any others? Any others? If not, yes, ma'am, but you need to fill out a form and come to the mic. We'll let you come tonight, but you need to fill out the form. Just give us your name and address so we'll know how to respond to you. Okay? Yes.
My name is Tenny Parks, and I live on Moncure Drive in Henrico. And I'm sure, Mr. Tyner, you may remember me because I was an educator also in Northampton County. Okay, I just would like to share a few facts with our commissioners, and I'm sure that with your expertise that you have all these facts already. But I would like to say that Northampton County has the 4th largest tax rate in the state. Yes. On adjusted property tax base per capita, Northampton County is 64th, which is just one above the state of North Carolina. I have allergies, excuse my hoarseness. As of 2023, the population is 16,082, a growth rate of negative 2.89%, a poverty rate of 22.41%. An average individual income earnings of Northampton County citizens is $28,870. Northampton County tax rate is higher than some of our neighbors, Halifax at 70.76%, Hereford County at 0.84%, Warren County at 0.81%, Bertie County at 0.865%. In the last 10 years, there's been only one new business that has built between Gaston and the Northampton County line. When we go shopping down in our area, we have to go into Warren County because it's the only place that we can get to a grocery store that is large or any other business. All our businesses in that area have been built on the Warren County side. So therefore, our taxes that we pay, sales taxes, are going to Warren County and not to Northampton County because we have nowhere to shop, or we have to go into Roanoke Rapids, or we visit a city further away, such as Rocky Mount, or go into Virginia. Northampton County has a lot of retired and elderly people, such as myself, and we have a lot of disabled people and children who do not pay any taxes. We have high gas prices, as you all know. You go to the grocery store, your grocery bill is tremendous, so much more than it has been. So we have higher utility bills. We're paying higher insurance. Everything's gone up, including the tax on our properties, the statement that we received this past month. I bought my property in 1996. I couldn't afford it today. I wouldn't have bought in Northampton County now, knowing how high our tax rate is to our neighboring, counties. I probably would have looked for property in Warren County or Halifax County because their rates have not gone up as high as it has in Northampton County. When we spend more than we make, and I'm talking about our governments, local and national, we are leaving our children, grandchildren drowning in our debt because we do not live forever. What are our children going to say? Are they going to tell us, what the heck were we doing? Why did we leave them in so much debt? I hope they can find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow because they're going to need it when they become adults. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your remarks. Thank you for your remark. Those are all the remarks that we have. Board member. This time I'll ask the board members to please give us any remarks you have. We're going to first ask Commissioner Taylor if you have any remarks you'd like to make tonight.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, and remember that a community or a county is no better than the people that live in it. And it's because of the people in Northampton County that make it great. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank everyone for coming out tonight. We really appreciate your comments, and any way we can be of assistance, please let us know. Thank you.
Just like to thank everybody for coming. Good to see you as always.
Vice Chairman.
I'd just like to remind the citizens that on Monday, a week from today, the community meeting in Rich Square starts at 6 o'clock at the Creasy Center Gym. There were flyers over on the table so that you can hear what the plans were that were a part of the 2019-2023 strategic plan for the Rich Square Community Center. At that time, we did go to each community and share the strategic plan, and we did come to the Rich Square Town Hall meeting in 2019. I can't remember which month it was that we came to Rich Square to share the plans for the Creasy Center. But this is an opportunity for you to share ideas about things that you would like to see happen there. And again, there are flyers over there, and thank the citizens for sharing your concerns. They don't fall on deaf ears. You know, we can't respond, and that's basically because of the public comment forum. But we do hear you.
Thank you. For all of you present tonight, I ask you to please contact any commissioners for any concerns that you have. My number is one of those public that you can get. You can call the county manager's office. They will answer any question that you might have. We do invite you to come be a part of our meeting, to know what we are planning to do in Northampton County. Northampton County, I think, is a county that's we're moving forward. And I've heard some comments tonight that about the tax rate. There's no question about it. We had reval, and your property value is going up. But we're looking at how we can bring down the amount of tax that you gotta pay. So just because your property has gone up does not mean that we're gonna charge you that next year, the rate that we charge this year. It's gotta be a balancing process. And we're gonna come up with that balancing process. We're working on it right now to come up with that process. Now, some folks want to have it both ways. You want your property to value much when you get ready to sell it. You want your property to value much when you want to borrow some money on it. But when, as long as it's sitting there, you want it to not value much, so you have to pay the taxes. So it works both ways. What we're doing now is something that we've required by law to do. There is an appraiser who the county have hired to do all of the appraisals. If you have a problem, call the county tax department. If you want to appeal your evaluation, call that department. That appraiser will come out to your place, talk to you, and go through the reasons why your place is value what they have sent you in your tax listing. So here we are. It only happens like every 8 years, but it's before us. With nothing we can do about it. But what we can do about it is look at the tax rate. And I promise you, we're going to look at the tax rate. You've asked us tonight about how we can, and I heard someone give us about the population of our county. It's really not growing. We're trying in every way we can, all possible ways, to see to it that our county grow in a sensible way. And I want you to know, without water and sewer, none of us can grow. Without water and sewer, the county cannot grow. We're planning to extend this year to over 200 of our citizens that do not have water, well water, stay next to the house, the hog house, like I do. Okay, we planned already and working to plan to extend our water lines to all of those citizens. Likewise, on our sewer, those of you who living on the western end of the county, we gotta extend those sewer lines. Extending those sewer lines going to mean for us not only growth in that area, but it's also going to mean for you. Your sewer line that you have will not last forever. I promise you. We've already looked at some of the sewer lines already in that western end on the lake. Already, they've already told us that those sewer lines will have to be replaced. We have referred some of our citizens there to USDA and to our Enriched Square Decatur, where they have monies to help people if their sewer lines go bad. Sewer lines now is not cheap. Costs a lot to replace your sewer line. So sewer is coming. Sewer is coming on that, especially on the western end. And we're going to help every municipality on the eastern end that have sewer plans. We're going to do everything in our power to help them to make sure their sewer system is up to par. That's the only way we're going to have growth. That's the only way we're gonna have growth in our county, is that all of us work together to make sure that this happens. I want to thank you, the board members, personally, thank you for all that you do and all the help that you help us do every day in our county. I want to thank our county manager, and thank you for all that you do. And last of all, thank you, the citizens, the taxpayers of this county, for all that you do in helping us. If you find that something, we can't satisfy everybody, but if you find there's some things that you want to help us with, that you got some better ideas about, please let us know. But remember, we're for growth. We're for making things better in Northampton County. Again, thank you for coming. Board members, I'd like to have us in closed session for about 5 minutes on one item. If nothing else come before you, could I have a motion to adjourn? We don't? Can we add it now? We can't. We don't? Okay.
Well, I mean.
I thought we had on all of them. We don't.
We didn't have, it's not.
We didn't. Okay, there will be no closed session there. Could I have a motion? to adjourn? So we adjourn.
Second.
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 That we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Gave an email.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was.
KKYE.
This is down.
Yeah, figure we-
POWELL.
In case we-
In my PO box, PO.